Our planet is covered in ruins, artifacts, and symbols that don't seem to fit into history as we know it, monuments built before the invention of the wheel. Tools that appear thousands of years too early and secrets buried deep beneath the ground, or the ocean. Today, we're diving into 10 ancient mysteries that continue to defy logic and science. These are not myths or legends, they're real archaeological discoveries that have experts scratching their heads to this very day. For centuries, the Great Pyramid of Giza has stood as a symbol of human genius, or something beyond it. Built around 2560 BC with over 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing up to 80 tons, it's still unclear how ancient Egyptians moved and placed them so precisely. In 2017, a team of scientists using muon tomography, a form of cosmic ray scanning, discovered a vast hidden chamber deep within the structure. This chamber is roughly 30 meters long and located above the Grand Gallery, an area no human has entered in over 4,000 years. Was it an unfinished passage, a sealed tomb, or something symbolic known only to the pharaoh's architects? No one knows. The Egyptian government has yet to allow exploration, leaving the world guessing about what lies in the darkness of that secret void. Modern engineers still can't replicate the pyramid's perfect alignment with true north, accurate to within 1/15 of a degree, and even the foundation remains level across the desert despite millennia of erosion. In the dry desert plains of southern Peru stretch massive geoglyphs known as the Nazca Lines, etched directly into the ground. They depict hummingbirds, monkeys, and geometric patterns, some over 400 meters long. From ground level, they're almost invisible. Only from the sky do the intricate designs reveal themselves. Yet they were created around 500 BC, long before flight was possible. So how did the Nazca people design them with such scale and symmetry? Some theories suggest primitive surveying using stakes and ropes, but the precision still seems beyond what's possible with that method. Even stranger, many of the lines point directly to nearby water sources or ancient ceremonial sites, hinting at spiritual or astronomical meaning. Yet their exact purpose, messages to the gods, ritual pathways, or star maps, continues to elude us. Because of the dry desert climate, the Nazca Lines have survived for over 2,000 years, barely disturbed by wind or erosion. Deep in the Dwarka Delta of Costa Rica, hundreds of nearly perfect stone spheres lie scattered across jungles and riverbeds. Some are as small as a baseball, others as large as a car. Each one is carved from hard igneous rock, and polished so perfectly smooth that even with modern tools, reproducing them would take immense effort. Carbon dating and surrounding artifacts suggest they were made around 500 to 1500 AD by the Dwarka culture, yet no written record explains their purpose. Some researchers believe they represented celestial bodies or tribal power. Others think they aligned with the stars, serving as part of a massive astronomical calendar. But when Spanish conquistadors arrived, they blew many of them apart, searching for gold, and found nothing inside. Their purpose remains one of archaeology's great unsolved puzzles. Even modern 3D scanning shows their shapes deviate less than 2% from perfect spheres, precision that rivals aerospace manufacturing. In southeastern Turkey lies a site that completely rewrote human history, Göbekli Tepe, carbon dated to around 9500 BC. It predates Stonehenge by 6,000 years, built when humans were still supposed to be nomadic hunter-gatherers. The site contains massive circular temples made from 20-ton stone pillars carved with detailed animal reliefs, snakes, boars, and birds. Each stone was carefully arranged in a pattern, suggesting advanced social organization and symbolic thinking. But listen. After centuries of use, the people of Göbekli Tepe buried their entire temple complex, deliberately covering it with tons of earth. No one knows why even to this day. Some believe it marked the end of an era or a ritual farewell to the gods. Göbekli Tepe forced archaeologists to reconsider when civilization truly began, suggesting complex societies existed thousands of years earlier than believed. In 1901, Divers exploring a Roman shipwreck off the coast of Greece discovered a lump of corroded bronze. When cleaned, it revealed a set of finely cut gears unlike anything ever seen from that era. This device, now called the Antikythera mechanism, turned out to be a 2,000-year-old analog computer capable of predicting eclipses and tracking the movements of the planets. It used at least 30 interlocking bronze gears, technology that wouldn't appear again until the 14th century. Some people think it was created by Greek scientists following Archimedes' theories. Others wonder if it's just one surviving example of an entire lost technological age. Today, 3D reconstructions can replicate its astronomical precision, but the knowledge behind it vanished completely. When we think of pyramids, we imagine Egypt, but few realize that China has more pyramids than the Egyptians ever built. Hidden across the Shaanxi province, satellite imagery reveals over 100 massive earthen pyramids, some rising nearly 300 feet tall. The largest of them all, the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor, Qin Shi Huang, is said to be an entire underground universe. Ancient texts describe it as having rivers of mercury, a ceiling painted with the constellations. Modern researchers have confirmed that the soil around the tomb has toxic levels of mercury vapor, supporting the ancient accounts, yet the Chinese government strictly forbids excavation, officially to protect the site. Though many believe it's to prevent the release of deadly mercury, or perhaps to hide what's inside, archaeologists estimate that over 700,000 workers built the complex more than 2,000 years ago, including the famous terracotta army, 8,000 life-sized warriors guarding the emperor for eternity. The mystery: we can't open it. Despite today's technology, no one has ever entered the emperor's tomb. For now, it remains sealed, a 2,200-year-old time capsule that may hold answers. Electricity wasn't officially discovered until the 18th century. But what if ancient people were already using it? In 1938, archaeologists near Baghdad found a small clay jar containing an iron rod, a copper cylinder, and traces of acidic residue. When reconstructed and filled with vinegar, the jar produced nearly 1 volt of electric current. That's over 2,000 years old, and yet it worked like a simple battery. Some experts believe it was used for electroplating gold onto silver, while others think it might have been part of religious rituals. Still, skeptics say it could have just been a container for scrolls or papyrus, with the metals added later by chance. But here's what makes it intriguing: multiple jars of similar design were found across the region, all containing traces of the same corrosive material. If ancient Mesopotamians truly understood electricity, even on a small scale, it means they discovered a principle of energy nearly 2 millennia before Benjamin Franklin ever flew his kite. At the heart of India's Ellora cave stands a structure that defies logic: the Kailasa Temple, built around 760 AD. Unlike other temples constructed from stone blocks, Kailasa was carved downward, from a single solid mountain of basalt. Workers removed more than 200,000 tons of rock, all by hand, without explosives or machinery. If they worked every single day for 20 years, they would have had to remove 30 tons of rock every day with nothing but chisels and hammers. And yet, the temple is not only enormous but also symmetrical and perfectly engineered, featuring intricate sculptures, multiple stories, drainage systems, and architectural harmony from top to bottom. Historians still don't know how they maintained such precision while carving from above. One wrong measurement, and the entire structure would have collapsed. But it didn't. Ancient texts credit the temple's creation to the Rashtrakuta king Krishna I, inspired by a divine vision. But even for an empire at its peak, the level of engineering skill required is staggering. Some believe it took centuries and generations of workers. Others say it was completed in a single lifetime, which seems almost impossible. Was this a feat of divine inspiration, forgotten technology, or simply human brilliance at its purest? Whatever the answer, the Kailasa Temple remains one of the greatest architectural enigmas ever carved by human hands. In 1898, in a tomb near the Saqqara necropolis, archaeologists found a curious wooden object shaped like a bird, but when studied closely, it didn't resemble any bird known to exist. Instead, its body, wings, and tail rudder seemed engineered. The Saqqara Bird, dated to around 200 BC, has aerodynamic properties almost identical to a modern glider. When replicas were made and tested in wind tunnels, they were able to generate lift and glide short distances, something no decorative artifact should do by accident. There are no records explaining what the artifact was used for. Some Egyptologists think it was a child's toy or a ceremonial symbol of Horus, the sky god, but others, including aerodynamics experts, believe it may have been a scale model of an actual ancient flying device. It's not the only clue suggesting Egyptian knowledge of flight. Hieroglyphs in Abydos show shapes resembling helicopters and aircraft. Coincidence or connection? We can't say, but it reminds us how little we truly understand about what ancient engineers might have achieved, or attempted, thousands of years ago. For centuries, Indian mythology told of a magnificent city built by Lord Krishna, a golden metropolis called Dwarka that sank into the ocean after his death. Most scholars dismissed it as a legend. Until the year 2000, off India's Gujarat coast, divers discovered massive stone walls, pillars, and streets arranged in grid-like patterns, exactly as ancient texts described. Carbon dating revealed some of the ruins to be over 9,000 years old, far older than any known civilization in the region. If accurate, that would push back India's urban history by several thousand years. Rewriting what we know about human civilization, the city appears to have been destroyed suddenly, possibly by rising sea levels at the end of the last ice age. Some believe Dwarka's story inspired similar flood myths around the world, including Atlantis. Today, archaeologists continue to explore the site using sonar and underwater drones, revealing temples and sculptures beneath layers of sand. While debates continue, one fact remains: a city once thought mythical turned out to be very real. Every ancient mystery reminds us that history is not as complete as we think. Our ancestors weren't primitive, they were extraordinary. They built wonders that even today make us stop and question our limits. Perhaps these ancient puzzles aren't meant to be solved, but to remind us that human imagination has always reached far beyond reason. If these mysteries fascinated you, hit that like button. Share this with someone who loves uncovering the past, and hit subscribe. Because here at Strange Vista Studio, reality is often stranger than fiction.